So what are we doing, Sadie? What's going on here in this space in our house?
Well, I'm eating bread.
Not just any bread. Sourdough bread that's got pizza flavor with olive oil on it. It's virgin olive oil.
That's good. But Maddie and I have been working on the DCC show.
Denver City and County Building.
Yeah, I sit here and I'm more encouragement and detail noticing, and she's the one that's hands-on with the computer right now.
I don't know. I was seeing some other stuff you were doing. It's not just detail noticing. You were helping
Yeah,
her
that's
with
the details, is drawing designs for the building.
Design, inspirations. Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit more important than detail noticing, even though detail noticing is important.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what I do is basically like, here's an idea for a story, which is not going to be very noticeable. I mean, it's noticeable, but it's not like...
I think it's more noticeable than you realize. Because it makes everything cohesive.
Yeah. Well, we try to tell a story with the light. It's just... Because you don't have voiceovers or anything like that, it's more of a... If you pay attention, you'll notice it. It's to keep it
consistent?
Consistent, like you were saying.
Yeah.
But I think this year the whole idea is like... The last song is going to be a conglomeration of all of the first 3 songs, and then it's also going to be the battle between the cold and warm colors.
Ooh, I'm excited to see. So...
That's why I drew, like...
Show me.
Maddie's not going to like building this one.
I'll be fine. I'm just
Yeah.
too crap.
And the reason that that's going to be challenging is because there's over 600 light fixtures on this building. They all have independent control. And she's video mapping them.
Yeah.
And that's what you're seeing her on the computer. So.
At least we can do that in our house.
In the warmth. Because it is cold outside. Holy moly.
Mm-hmm. It's cool because Maddie and I get to program the show now. And I remember watching Mom and Dad used to do it. So, it's cool. I'm glad that I get to help Maddie with it now.
Yeah. You guys grew up with us doing it in the cold and you guys were tiny. I had to do it in front of the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Nate and I used to program the City and County Building in person in front of the building overnight because we had to do it after 10 p.m. when the news people stopped showing the building and before sunrise when they started showing their sunrise shots before everybody went to work. And so the girls would get packed up and go with us and they'd sleep near us in the truck while we were sitting outside the truck with little tiny blankets, heated blankets and a little heater and do all the things, right? And we've gone from that to this. Working at home. But that's been a lot of advancement. And that came from Nate's smarts. And then Madeline really came in and just really elevated the whole process. And Mercedes has really been an incredible inspiration as well for the choreography as far as color.
What's up?
Well, I'm vlogging this. And I figured that we'd interrupt you for a second if that's okay. And ask what it is that you're doing. Since you're kind of like the captain of the ship here.
So, we're using a mix of programs. And it's like... If I were to explain it, it's going to be really simple and straightforward.
Well, hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, this woman here is not just a Disney nerd, a Universal nerd. She's actually a computer nerd. And advertising and marketing and video production and marketing nerd. And it's the best kind because she's very talented at it.
Nerd.
And she's artistic, just like the rest of us. And she expresses it through technology. Artistic.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't we all artistic?
Yes.
You're getting sucked in.
I am. This is my problem. Okay, so basically what I'm doing is I'm utilizing a couple of different tools to create a light show on a building. But the way we're doing it is we're using Resolu Marina, and I've been working on Resolu Marina for like 4 years now almost, right?
Well, I think it's close to 5 because you started before, or was it 4?
20, yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
so
close to 5.
4 or 5 years, and I've been programming the DCC show for about that same amount of time. And basically what we're doing is we have a map of the building. It looks really weird. And we're not going to give you guys a whole tour of that. But basically, each one of these boxes represents a singular light fixture.
Well, and if you squint, you see the shape of the building. And I'll insert a picture of the shape of the building.
And it makes sense to us.
Basically, the cool part is each one of these is tied to an individual fixture on the building. or groups of fixtures on the building so that we can do really cool lighting techniques across it. And then those all tie to a column in our Resolume Arena program, or multiple columns, or whatever we set up. We have different layers for things and techniques and stuff. And it translates any color or video or mapped kind of thing onto what we've done into these columns, or onto the building itself will translate onto the building. And
Through the light
and we can
fixtures.
see it through the fixtures. That's what this color block is these are our columns on the front of the building, in that front middle section.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be on as green during a section over here. And what we do is we're using this almost like a content generator to create the content. We then use a second program called Adobe Premiere, and we basically edit the content that's video mapped on the building like a video, and so that it's one singular source going to the fixtures and things that are happening on the building. So it also gives us some more free range movement. There's some transitions and things you can do in Resolume that you can't do in Premiere, and there's some transitions and things, a lot of them, that you can't do on Resolume that you can do in Premiere. And so both of the programs work together fairly seamlessly to create what we need. And the great part is that allows for us to kind of, I come from marketing and video editing specifically, so it allows for me to use what my skill sets are in an applied atmosphere like this to create a really cool, unique show without having to learn 8 million different programs. But it also opens the door for us to do quicker turnarounds instead of trying to run it through a bunch of other programmers that we had at the time. Because 4 years ago, the first 2 years, I had to learn 3 other programs in addition to these 2, because this Premiere didn't actually work the way we were hoping for. And so we're manipulating these programs to do what we need to video map to this building and translate this beautiful story, song, soundtrack with the visuals onto a building that is a city block wide. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of funny because you can't really tell the detail here, but once you get onto the building, it looks pretty cool. Mm-hmm. The next step after us finishing this programming, though, is legitimately we're going to take it down to the show space, and once it's all set up with decorations and everything down in Denver, then we'll be able to go early morning or late night programming there to make sure all the details work. Because what you don't see in all of these boxes, in up here, all these boxes, we have special effects and things on the building that are illuminated throughout the show. And this year we have different kinds of effects and props on the building than we usually do. So we get to have a little bit of fun playing around with that. And yeah, in years past, we had some controllability over things, but the technology's really changed in the last 2 years to allow for a lot more without having to change the props themselves, which is super cool. So yeah.
Well, as mom, I am incredibly proud. I have to tell you. And what's really cool is that these young ladies are an incredible team. You know, they're both balancing each other out. Madeline's at the helm here, driving the ship, and Mercedes is her co-captain, and she's coming in and supporting her and giving her the secondary set of eyes that she needs to be successful and to have a secondary perspective for the artfulness of communicating. Because this is not just about technology. It's not just about colors. It's about musicality. It's about flow. It's about knowing how color affects and changes the atmosphere. It's about how you can drive emotions with certain colors and sounds. So anyway, I'm really proud because these young ladies have grown up in the industry and now they're taking charge. And what everybody didn't know, secret that we're letting out, is that we're Santa's helpers and that we're actually elves. Every year for Christmas, we get to be Santa's help. Right? And so maybe that's why we're a little shorter than the average Joe. But
I'm average height.
But we are Santa's elves, and we've been proud to be that for many, many years, almost 2 decades. And that's pretty cool. But Madeline and Mercedes are going to get back to work here, and I'll probably insert some footage from last year's show, so you can kind of see what it is that looks like that they did last year,
That's what
and what Maddie did last year. That's right. And then because Sadie was off running another project of ours last year, so this is exciting actually for you, huh, Sadie, to be able to be a part of it again, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So, but you can get to see what the building looks like when it's put to controls and lights. And I will say one more thing. She's using this beautiful technology. And back in the day, we literally had a light console outside and a computer, and we had to tell each individual light what we wanted it to do, and it was very time consuming and laborsome. But the nice part is now she can be more creative. They can be more creative because they're not limited to just what the singular light fixtures can do, but what they can do to make it move and breathe. So I'm excited for you guys to see it. And
Me too.
yeah, me too. And I'm proud of my daughters. So proud. I'm proud of my husband, Nate. He gets to go and set it all up. He's the other elf in the house. And he's the head elf for this project.
Because it's a pastel-y Christmas, and we're gonna do some pastels.
Pastel party.
Yeah. So then I was thinking these would be for 3 ships because it's the battle of the cold and warm tones.
Mm-hmm.
So I like this idea where it was like half and half, and then it'd swap. So like this side of the building, this side would go green. Yeah.
And
It
then
was like the battle. Yeah. So yeah. And either these windows are gonna be white or like a different color. I don't know, maybe red would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one, I actually like this one a lot because it's very cartoony.
Yes.
It'd be a lot of work to build it, but you can do it. And so I was thinking like it would be all this color all the way across, and then it would invert to the.
Got it.
So you
could
would
totally
be
do
building
that.
it twice, technically. Or you could build half and half, and then
We
that
could
would.
do it. We could do it. We could do it. I'm gonna save this.
I mean, it would also be cool if you did half the building like this, and like literally like the image,
So
because then it would look like it's the battle.
before. Okay. Before we both looks.
Yeah, you have to make sure you
were
have.
awesome. You got the job started.
So basically, the reason why I say it might be difficult is because the way that the system's programmed is that, for example, when she clicks that all of the columns in the front are green, turns all of them green. And so she has to program, and this is the stuff I don't fully understand yet, but basically when I make a complicated design like that one, she has to pull those fixtures individually and figure out how to program the color and the timing to those fixtures.
Right.
So
Well,
that's
and it's
why-
not just individual fixtures. So, like, here, you have another form she's not using.
Well, these are blank.
These are the blank.
This
Okay.
is the blank
This is what the
copy of
building
the
looks
building.
like, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
So, okay, so then when she says, like, this area here, this stripe here is going to be blue,
Yeah.
and this one's going to be red,
It's the second and
It's-
third floor windows.
you're having to do, well, technically, it's the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth that you have to program all the fixtures in a linear to match whatever the pattern is that you're doing.
right.
So these are all separate. So this one could be a different color, and the next level could be a different color, the next level will be a different color, and if she's doing a gradient, she has to program the lights to do the gradient or move one way or the other.
Exactly. So then when I choose out like this one window out of this entire row of windows on this side needs to be green, then she has to figure out how to separate that one light fixture and actually program that one light fixture. And so Maddie, do you know how to do you want to show us how you do that?
She's like, I didn't know. we
She's
just
like,
we just interrupted her process, so
Yeah.
we best be leaving her alone. It's like a
But,
composer.
Yeah.
let
Anyways,
her
most of the way the system works out, and there are some blocks that we have that are
be. Preset.
pre-made
Mhm.
that we can just do that with some stuff because of designs and things we've done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, the easiest way to go about it is to choose that this whole section is going to be like just the windows, not the columns in between them. I don't know if you can see that very well. But there's columns in between all of the windows there. And she can choose if all the columns are just going to be yellow and do that, or the
Windows, upper windows, lower windows.
Yeah.
So there's actually windows, if you see on the drawing, on the fourth, the third, the second, and the first floor.
Yeah.
And they're independently controlled versus the walls that are
Right.
between them and the columns.
Right. So that's why when you look at the programming thing, there's a lot more layers to it, is because she had to make a layer for the column that's over top of the windows.
Mhm.
So the columns can be their own colors and the windows can be their own colors.
Right.
So, like what I was saying is when I want a specific window behind a column to be a certain thing, she has to then separate it and make it that whole thing.
Yeah,
so,
and it also could be like the fourth floor window is different than the third and the second and the first.
And like last year, for example, or the year before that, not last, because I didn't help, we had a section where it would go dun dun, and it would be these outskirts of the building. With
so on this drawing, this is a square end of the building, and then the rest of this is like a horseshoe. And so this is like the end cap. And I'll show you the video.
In person someday, yeah. But we wanted these end caps to emphasize the dun dun, right, at the beginning of the song. Mm-hmm. And so she had to separate these specifically in order to do that, to make the lighting perfect.
Right.
She's getting it. So here
she's growing it.
When you look at the screen, sorry, you see these cubes here, on this here and on that side. Mm-hmm. That is the corners that I just showed you.
The corners, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the corners that I just showed you for the bump part, but all of this is how she's programming that. Right. And so when she clicks on that column, the column 10, you'll see over there where you're looking right now, all of her programming presets for the colors show up.
And she's selecting the colors on the rainbow variants over there, where she can choose any custom color.
Yeah.
Because the light fixtures are capable of any color under the rainbow.
The only thing with the lights and light fixtures on the building is you can't do like a dark blue. Like, you can't do a navy blue.
Well, you can. It just looks like it's kind of off.
It has to be light enough where it's not just black, which would tell the light to turn off.
Yeah.
I got your colors on the columns. You think you got it? Okay. Oh my word. so she's doing all that work just for the columns right now. Yeah. Just the right side right now. Yeah. So all of that time of us just talking was her trying to figure out how to do the columns, which is faster than
on the front
I would do.
Yeah.
I got it. And I'm proud of myself. Now I got to repeat it on. But the best thing is once she gets this design the first time with one color set, then she can just go through and change the color set to the darker color sets.
Right.
So do you understand this?
You are really funny. Yes, I'm figuring it out. I'm figuring it out. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
Pause and record. You're going to record.
First to fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So over here is
you know how many layers I'm going to have to do?
Yeah.
Brother. Do you understand?
This is why I'm the creative. I draw things that she makes it.
Sometimes she regrets asking for your help, I guess.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, over here marks like the different sections she's working on. So you'll see fourth floor windows, right? And so for the fourth floor window, it's the windows on this floor right here. Mm-hmm. And then right above floor 4 windows is fourth floor walls, which she scrolled up. And that's between the windows. Mm-hmm. So she's just having to make sure she's on the right column block to pick the right color. And then when she clicks on that column 10 that she's working on, it'll show up her work on the actual screen.
And it's showing up over here.
And she's basically making the content of what the building is going to look like and do so that she can download it or record it depending if we want it to move, and then add it to the Resolute system where she's basically developing a long form video.
Great.
So it's pretty awesome watching her do it.
That's right. Yeah. And the fact that you understand it is pretty awesome too.
I understand how it works. I don't understand the buttons.
Yeah, that's okay. Yet. You would understand it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
If I had to, I'd probably be able to do it.
Yeah. It's because you both are highly intelligent young women.
I was gonna... Do you want me to start working on final concept for resting pose?
Huh?
The final look.
You want me to work on a resting concept?
Whatever.
She's like, yeah, go for it, because she's busy. All right, well, in reality here, we are still here with the puppy.
And he's being a nuisance.
And he's being a goober. You're a goober.
Oh, okay, so one thing, too, you need to ask Maddie where she's going to incorporate her rubber ducks, because every time she programs something...
Probably going to be in a wonderful time of year.
Okay. She hides rubber ducks in her...
I know, every year that she programs, she puts rubber ducks in the programming. You don't see them on the building, but their colors show up. This is her brain on on colors right now.
Look, this is gonna be insane. This is like,
And that's not even the final look. But you know what's nice? You could use a variation of this, but both sides matching, and adjust the colors to be
well, I'll keep the
Christmassy.
chaos on the windows.
I see where you're headed.
Yeah, because the chaos is supposed to be the battle of the
Shit.
the cold and the warm tones. And so you take creative liberty however you want.
Oh, you don't have to give me information.
I know, because this is the fun part about siblings working together. It's like,
Adult siblings.
yeah, it's like, okay, I love you, but it's also like,
I got you both doing the same thing. Okay. All right. I'm going to leave you guys to it for a bit.
Possible. Just excited to see what we do this year.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to see what you're doing there and see how she
I'm
does
thinking
here.
of like the bottom half. I'm thinking of like elf stockings. You know, like how they have those
Yeah.
weird
Mhm.
elf stockings. Or,
Sadie's making the ugly Christmas sweater looks for the
that's my
year.
style.
That's
It's just
fine. Last year I had
organic.
Sanrio characters
That's
inspiration.
right.
She can have her ugly sweaters. But ugly sweaters are harder because they have so many layers.
I'm doing it where you already have it pre-programmed. For the most part, I haven't done anything crazy yet.
Okay, just remember, you can't go zigzag.
I
It
know.
doesn't work. I tried one year.
Yeah, it doesn't look great.
Dad was like, and I was like, that wasn't a reaction.
Yeah.
So zigzagging on the building is really funny because it's all like straight lines with the lights.
Mhm.
Because you have like the columns and the windows, and so when you try to zigzag, it looks like this, and then a giant column, like 2 stories, and then like a little tiny thing, and it's just it doesn't work.
Yeah. Architecturally, it doesn't fit.
No, I mean if you were to actually projection map onto it, it would be great.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the challenge of the lights and having to work with the lights that just are basic, one directional, I think is really fun
Mm-hmm.
because it makes you have to be more creative when you're trying to emphasize sound and tell a story.
Yeah, dark versus light, tone.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like I think last year Maddie had a sunrise scene.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like you couldn't see the video she had chosen.
This is when you realize how much she paid attention to the programming you did.
Yeah, I love watching her program. It's really satisfying because it's like, oh my gosh, she started with a blank slate. Now there's like an 8-minute show. But it was really cool because the story was about bringing the sunlight back to Denver because I think there was some hardships everyone was navigating, and we were just putting an uplifting story out there. And so it was like the nighttime wait until the sunrise, and then there's a beautiful sunrise that encompassed the building. It was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like telling stories. Whether they're obvious or not, we know that there's a story there.
That's right.
It's like writing a book.
It is like writing a book.
Only the few people might... Although a lot
It's
of people
getting
will
there.
read it, not very many people will understand the story. If that
Right.
makes sense.
Yep.
Oh, frick, you said blue and green windows. Got it! Got it, I can do this.
I forgot.
Third floor
I'm proud of
windows
you.
are... I'm gonna start with a base color.
Of
And
Remember,
on that
it's
note,
the wonderful time of the year.
mm-hmm.
The most wonderful
All right, you've got this.
day. Okay, so Mom, I did the opposite of what you said. There's no solid color on the bottom window.
Okay.
So, do you think it'd be too much to like?
You need solid somewhere.
Okay,
Because if it's
so-
just a patchwork quilt everywhere, then it won't actually look cohesive.
Yeah.
So
That's
you
just
need
me, but-
you need so what I would suggest is the columns and walls between the windows would be blue or something to that effect. You could do that, or you could do
Well, this is my first concept. What I might do is I might redo this concept
mhm,
and do the columns and windows on the second and third floor.
mhm,
This red and green pattern.
mhm.
And then solid. I understand why you did that. Is because
Mhm.
you have to have a balancing act
Right. Well, and
somewhere.
you have to take into consideration that we're trying to be neutral in
Yeah, for, like,
celebrations, Hanukkah, and yeah, all that. So we're not trying to go focused on like blue and gold and white. If it
Right.
happens, it's fine, but we're trying to.
You don't want to be obviously specific.
Right, we're trying to create a unique ornament for the city of Denver. We're just making a huge ornament,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
The trick with reds and stuff, I would say, Don't mix gold with red on the columns. Alternate them with opposite ends of the spectrum of the color wheel.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because they're close to each other. They drown each other out.
Yeah, so they just look like bleh.
Right. And it would be better to have it as because the walls there, if you do in red and green, you could do like a blue behind them, and then they'll pop.
Okay.
I wouldn't do pink. Like a teal or something different, right?
Yeah.
But then the windows below and above, you could do gold. Because they would be like the ornaments on the ornament on the tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then the middle, I can't remember what we call it.
Pediment?
The pediment, yeah. Then that one can be a complementary piece as well. It could be the back color. It could be a highlight color. But I traditionally, because it's like a postcard for everybody, an ornament for the city, we try to make it as classy and classic as possible.
Yeah, obviously Christmas, winter holiday.
Correct.
Because it goes through the new year as well.
It does.
And it's the same show. So you want
Correct.
to make sure that when it's before Christmas and then after Christmas, it's still wintry.
Correct. Now you can get away with some fuchsias and things like that. So as you program, you may want to play with fuchsia.
So you think blue for the windows between the columns? Or...
Mm-hmm. In this look, you could do that. You could also do... One year we played with the main colors being gold and purple and like purpley color and fuchsia and like a light blue. And we took the Christmas colors and just turned them more pastel. And then we used the more solid Christmas colors that were the base as the regular Christmas colors, like the true green, the true reds, and that kind of thing. True blues. So you'll just have to look at it and
what do you think
program
about
it too.
that?
I think that's a good standard. I also think you should do a wild one.
A wild one?
A wild card. Yeah.
Wild thing.
Because people also love, like what you're seeing on the screen here. People also love that. And they do complement each other.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw a line.
Yep.
Center-ish.
Yeah. And
What
just
other
play with it.
color?
Yep.
What
And-
other color, Mom? Orange?
I love
Do
orange.
you think orange would look good between...
It is a warm color with red, but depending on the color of the orange that you choose, it would be good.
I mean, I think...
Because you don't want it so dark, but you don't want it to look like you dropped your Crayolas all over the place. You want it to look like
Yeah.
it has purpose.
Well, and these are just concept designs, so, like, we can pull aspects from different concepts.
Well, and this is why I typically would pull up photographs of previous years. And then when we started, we pulled up historical documents. Because in the City and County of Denver's office that we work with, they have all the historical photos.
Right. I mean,
And that's what we went with. But anyway, yeah, go with something that is joyful and classy, but it can be modern. Okay? I'm giving you words to use to describe it, not to give you directive.
yeah.
Okay?
Yeah,
If
'cause,
this
like,
is for you to, yeah.
for example, these are some of the things that we used to do for,
Yeah,
like,
that's one of
solid
them.
looks.
Mm-hmm. See, there's contrast of the blue and green. It's like a blue and teal almost.
Yeah.
And then there's these down here. That one on the left that was
This
the curved
this one?
picture was something people really liked. But the one on the bottom right there, and the center was good. They're all good. And see how there's banks of 4 columns and
Yeah.
3 columns? You could do that.
I personally,
I like that
I
style.
love this. Like, for me, if I'm making the final design, which we're all going to throw in concepts and build off of that, I like the classic Christmas colors. And so I would,
Well, that's not classic. Though.
Like-
That's purple. It's not really showing on the phone, but it's
Oh,
purple and pink with red and blue and green and gold.
yeah, but what I mean is, like, the deep
Yeah.
richness of the color. I
Mhm.
think that's where, like, this is beautiful to me, but it's not as, like, this is also really pastel.
Well, that's more old-fashioned. That one there.
Yeah.
That one's way more
Well,
old-fashioned.
it looks older because there's, like, a snowman right there.
Yeah, that's
I don't
old.
think we ever put a snowman on there.
No.
But, yeah, I mean, like, the deep, rich colors.
Yeah,
That's, like...
Was that last year?
I have no idea. Let me see. It doesn't say.
Of course it doesn't. That's all right.
Yeah. All I know is that...
Yeah, you can show everybody what the building looks like with just like the blue or the.
Well, that's the video.
Show the one on the
This
left.
one?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the horseshoe shape
That's
of the building.
building.
So this right here, that bit and that bit are the outskirt pieces
flat
that you
pieces.
see. And then the whole wall that you see that's flat, like this is the out bit right here. And then these flat bits are the full roundness of the building.
Right.
So it's like you can walk into it and be surrounded, which
That's
is really
right.
cool.
It's really cool. Yeah. No, I trust you guys as a team and your creativity, and I just go over the historical references because every year we didn't want to match what we did the year prior,
Mm-hmm.
but we wanted it to have just as rich and depth to it.
Yeah.
For the documentation of what it is.
Yeah, like this one's pretty cool.
Yeah,
This
that
one's
got the
very
fuchsia in it.
pink and bright blue and things like that.
Yeah.
Very unique
A lot
Christmas
of people like
colors.
that because it was different than everything that was on display.
Yeah, it's just interesting because the bottom half is out.
Yeah.
First
So
floor is not lit during that one.
yeah, that one was when we had some vandalism on the building,
Makes sense.
and the first floor pictures are the
But-
ones that people mess with.
I can tell you most people didn't notice it until I pointed it out.
Right.
So, okay, yeah, we're gonna work on that. I really like this one too.
Yeah, I do like that.
The all greens and the orange and red. Yeah, that one's nice.
It's really pretty. Can you zoom out?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was pretty.
that one's really nice.
Mm-hmm. I like the
But
golds
we
and
don't
rings.
want to do things like this because this might be too 4th of July-y now. And I think this was for a Bronco. Yeah, this is the
That was the
Broncos
Broncos.
colors.
That's when they were like in the playoffs or something. So. All right.
This one's pretty.
We have now gabbed for 15 minutes. I think I'm gonna let you get back at work.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how you feel about this.
Yeah, now that you've looked at the other ones, play with it. Sometimes that's easiest done not on paper.
Right? That's why, like, you come up with, like, okay, let's go for these colors maybe in this area,
Mhm.
which is why you draw it out. And then when you're on the computer, because you can move it around,
Yep.
you can kind of envision it better, too,
Mhm.
because for me, it's easier when it's in those cube things. I don't know why,
Mm-hmm.
but it's probably because we can make it move.
Yeah.
Uh,
Speaking of which, how's it going, Maddie?
It's going.
It's going. You surviving?
mhm.
You still gonna love your sister for her creativity?
I will never not love her for that.
Oh, wow, you're doing so good. That looks great.
It's taken me 20 minutes to get to this point.
15. I'm counting because I've been the best. Yeah. You're doing great.
She's counting.
You're doing great. 15 minutes? You realize how long it would take your dad to do this for the building originally?
I'm
Want to guess how long?
how?
It's a 2-hour process.
Oh, thank you.
So I would get up and go check you kids, make sure everybody had food and snacks,
Mhm.
and we'd all hang out and play, and then go back. And he'd be like, okay, what do you think of this? So, look at that, guys. Okay. Christmas is starting early with us.
Christmas is
Starting now. I'll see you later.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!